Here are rent prices for students, for international students in Mauritius. Now, the figures or the prices that I'm going to give you are indicative. They are not fixed. They can change, they can increase. I'm just going to give you a range, a price range, so that you can budget properly for your accommodation. And also, I previously made a video on types of accommodation for international students. If you missed that video, you can watch it. The link is in the video description. Go and catch up and understand the types of accommodations that are available for students. And then in this video, we are going to focus on the prices, the expenses like bills and other expenses, and also what to look out for when you are booking your accommodation. So let's get started. The first one is student residences or shared accommodation, which ranges between 6,000 to 9,000 Mauritian rupees. You can convert to your own currency so that you get an accurate figure in your own currency. I would suggest that when you are budgeting, especially for this kind of accommodation, use the highest amount. I know I said 6,000 to 9,000, but when you are budgeting, use 9,000 instead of 6,000. Yes, you can find something for 6,000, but that will be in a shady location or shady accommodation. So you want to get good accommodation, especially if you are going to live with other students. If you're going to share a house with other students, you don't want a shady house, a very small house where you are crowded with 4 or 5 other students. So I would suggest if you can budget around 9,000, then you can find a good, decent house that you can live in and share with other students. And normally with shared accommodation, the rent includes the bills. Like, for example, if you pay 9,000 rupees, it's inclusive of water, electricity, and internet, which is pretty good because you just pay your rent, and then you don't have to worry about additional bills. Okay, that was that with the shared accommodation. Now let's look at the next option that you can explore. The second option is a studio, which ranges between 10,000 and 15,000 rupees, and it will depend on the type of studio and where it is located. A studio is like one big room, and inside you find that there's a fridge, bed, stove, and then there's a bathroom. Sometimes the bathroom is most of the time the bathroom is combined with the toilet, so it's like a little contained space that is mostly suitable for one person. Studios are very popular. I think they're the most suitable option for students. With studios, the rent excludes the bills. So if you are going to pay 10,000 rupees for a studio, that would exclude bills. We'll talk about bills later, how much bills are, so that you can also budget for bills. So that is that with the studio. Let's look at the last option. The third option is an apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment, which is mostly 15,000 rupees and above. An apartment is bigger than a studio. You find that in an apartment there's a bedroom, there's a kitchen, dining area, little dining area, and then you have your bathroom and your toilet. Sometimes they are combined or separate. It will depend on the apartment. So apartments are quite expensive. There are some that are very expensive that as a student you will not be able to afford. But then there are some that are affordable, like 15,000 rupees, depending on your budget. And apartments are good if you want a bigger space, if you want a more bigger space. But studio is still fine for a student. If you are living alone, a studio is completely fine for you. But if you want an apartment, then you can get an apartment. Like the studio, apartment rent often excludes bills, so you have to pay rent and then you pay bills separately. Now let's look at how much bills are so that you can budget for your bills before you come here. Like I mentioned, if you choose a studio or an apartment, you are likely going to pay bills separately. The bills will not be inclusive in your rent. Bills include Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi ranges between 1,300 rupees per month. And initially, when you are setting up your Wi-Fi, you have to purchase a router. I think router is around 1,200. It's a once-off payment for you to purchase or be given the router, and then per month it starts from 1,300. That's for Wi-Fi, and then electricity will depend on your usage. If you're going to use the AC, of course your electricity bill is going to be very high. But if you don't use your AC, it will be down a bit. Like for example, in my studio, when I use the AC, the electricity bill will be more than 1,000 rupees. But if I don't use the AC, my bill will be between 400 and 500 rupees. So it will depend on your usage. And then water is not quite expensive. Sorry, I need to stretch. I'm actually sitting down on the floor. It's quite comfortable. Water is not expensive. Sometimes water is inclusive in the rent. It's not that much expensive. I think for water you might pay 100 rupees, 200 rupees. It's really not that expensive to pay for water. The most expensive one that you have to budget for is your Wi-Fi and your electricity. I don't think there are other extra costs. Sometimes there may be, maybe you have to pay for cleaning, but that depends on where you live. That depends on the yard. I don't have the figures for that. I've never had to pay anything extra like cleaning and stuff. It's just my electricity and Wi-Fi. So those are the bills that you need to look out for. Next important thing is furniture. Be sure to choose a fully furnished studio, apartment, house, whatever that you choose. Make sure that it's fully finished. A lot of the houses here, a lot of the apartments here are fully finished. They are just readily finished, ready to accommodate tourists. So you'd find that they are fully finished. But double check that your accommodation is fully finished, because you don't want to come here and then worry about buying furniture. By fully furnished, I mean that it should have the basics. You should have a bed, fridge, stove, microwave, washing machine, because almost all the houses here have a washing machine. Nobody is doing their laundry with their hands. Washing machine, and then a few utensils. Of course, the utensils you can buy. Maybe you want a 9-sticky pan. Those are the things that you can buy. But there should be the basics that you can use when you arrive to your accommodation. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is food. In terms of food, it will depend on what you eat, what you like to eat, the type of food that you'd like to prepare. Are you going to eat out or are you going to prepare at home? For example, I think for food, you'd probably spend between 4,000 and 5,000 rupees. That is just an estimate. But then again, it might be less or it might be more. If you find a part-time job in a food outlet, then your food might be less because you probably will eat at work, right? And then you buy less grocery at your place of residence. So that is that with food. Lastly, let's talk about the things that you need to avoid when you are booking your accommodation. It's very important that you pay attention to these things so that you don't repeat the same mistakes that I made. I made a few mistakes when I first came in Mauritius, when I first booked my accommodation. So I don't want you to repeat the same mistakes. I also don't want you to get caught off guard. So you need to know upfront what to avoid, what to expect, and what not to do. And for this one, I made a list, just a few things, so that I don't forget. So I'll be referring to my list, okay? The first thing is not getting documents from your landlord. You have to get your accommodation documents from your landlord, especially if you have paid. Make sure that you get a letter that confirms your accommodation. If not, get a lease agreement, but a letter is often required for your visa application. Your landlord has to write a letter confirming your accommodation, and the letter should have a full address, full names of the landlord, and also your full names, including your passport number and the landlord's ID number. And then the next thing, you need to get their ID. Because that is required for your visa application. I know sometimes some landlords are difficult. They don't want to share their IDs, but I find it's not fair, because you are trusting them with your money. You are paying them upfront. They should be willing to share their ID with you. Either way, even when you come here in Mauritius, they still have to give you a copy of their ID because you will need it wherever you go. The ID verifies that the accommodation written in the letter actually belongs to the landlord who claims the property. You understand? And then you also ask for a bill, a recent bill. It could be an electricity bill or internet bill, any bill that is recent. The bill confirms the accommodation. So you need to get those three things: the letter, landlord ID, and also a recent bill. Okay? And then secondly, be sure that there are no hidden costs. If you are told that rent is 9,000 rupees, first clarify if that includes bills. If it does not include bills, what are the bills you are expected to pay? Are there any hidden fees? You have to find out if there are any hidden fees. You don't want to come here and then you are told you have to pay syndicate fees, or you have to pay cleaning fees, something that was not agreed prior when you were making accommodation arrangement, because that will be an extra expense for you. So you don't want that extra expense. Make sure that you clear that out from the beginning. And then the other one is, I think it's connected to the point that I mentioned about bills, that you have to get clarity on the inclusiveness or the exclusiveness of the bills. In your rent, are bills included or are they excluded? If they're excluded, what bills are you paying? Are you paying for Wi-Fi? Are you paying for water? Are you paying for electricity? You have to get that clarity before you sign anything or before you send money. Just make sure that that is cleared out, okay? And then the next thing is committing long term before you come to Mauritius. Like when I first came, the landlord gave me a 1-year contract. I signed a 1-year contract, and when I came here, I was not happy with the accommodation and I wanted to move, but my contract was 1 year. So I had to break the contract, unfortunately, after 2 months, and I lost money. She did not give me my deposit back. I also had paid, I think, 3 months in advance, so she did not refund me the money. So if you book for maybe 3 months, short term, and when you come here and you are not happy with your accommodation, you are able to switch, you are able to change without you losing money. So don't commit long term. Don't commit to a 1 year accommodation without knowing whether you will like your accommodation when you arrive here. Okay, if you get a short-term contract, at least when you get here and you don't like what you see, you can always go and look for something better, and it will be better for you to look when you are already here, because you can actually go and look at the accommodation, or you can go and look at the apartment, the studio, or the house. I got distracted, a door was opening, so that is why I paused a little bit. Okay, the next thing is overcrowded housing. This is especially referring to you if you are going to share accommodation, if you go to student residences or to a shared house. Avoid getting an overcrowded house. Let's say, for example, a house with 5 other students. That's a lot of students. It's very difficult to live with other people. Imagine if you are living with 4 other people and you share 1 bathroom, you share 1 kitchen, and in that kitchen there's only 1 stove, 1 fridge. That is going to be challenging to manage the kitchen, to manage everything in the house. And also there are issues with hygiene, bathroom. Maybe imagine bathroom for 5 people. There are some people who are untidy, who don't clean after themselves. So you don't want to be in that kind of situation. At least a house with maximum 3 people, I feel that's reasonable. But if you are desperate and you need accommodation to get your visa, then I would suggest that you commit to short term, so that when you get here, you can find something more comfortable or more suitable. Because, studying, it's hard enough. It's hard already to try to get your degree, or especially if you're going to do a PhD. You need to have a comfortable accommodation. For me, accommodation is the top priority. I want to go home and feel comfortable and feel at peace. So make sure that you don't commit to an overcrowded house. And then booking blindly, avoid scams. Ask for a tour of the house, or a tour of the apartment, or a tour of the studio. Let them send you a video or pictures. And also avoid booking accommodation with random people on Facebook. Try to get a list of reputable accommodation providers from your university. They often have a list of accommodation providers. Get that list and use those landlords, because if they are coming from the university, it probably means they vet the accommodation providers, so they are likely to be genuine or to be real, rather than just falling for a scam from Facebook. So avoid that. And then also avoid booking accommodation with poor transport access. When you are booking, ask the landlord, how far is your house, how far is the apartment, how far is the studio from the bus station. You don't want to walk half an hour to go catch a bus. And then when you come back from the university, you also have to walk half an hour to go back to your place of residence. So make sure that there's access to transport. There are so many bus stops here, and they're often within the proximity of houses. So you want to get your house around, just near the bus stop. And also avoid getting accommodation that is far away, where you have to take buses. We use buses here. If you take accommodation that is far from your university, and maybe you have to take 3 buses, you are likely going to be very late for your classes every day, or every time you go to your university. Maximum is 2 buses. 2 buses is normal. It's normal to get 2 buses. I live in Grand Bay, and I take 2 buses, one from Grand Bay to Port Louis, and then Port Louis to my university. That is reasonable. That is okay. 2 buses is okay. But if you're going to take 3 buses or more, that is, I think that is going to be a challenge for you, especially if you have evening classes. You need to have access to transport, so that you are not forced to get a taxi. Taxis are expensive. That will be an extra expense for you, and you don't want that extra expense. Okay, so make sure that you get accommodation that has transport access. And then the last one is just a warning that you should pay attention to your landlord's behavior, communication behavior. As you are communicating via email, via WhatsApp, just pay attention to their communication style. Are they responsive? Are they welcoming of your questions? Are they responding to your questions? Or are they getting agitated? Are they getting angry at the questions that you are asking? If there's anger there or there's agitation, that might be a sign that something is wrong, and you don't want to have that kind of landlord, because you will have troubles, you have problems. If they cannot simply respond to the questions that you have or provide you with the necessary documents that you need, then what about when you are now living in their house and there's a problem in the house? Will they come and fix it? So those are things that you should look out for. But most importantly, get your documents. They might be required at the airport. They might require proof of accommodation. So if you don't get the documents and you arrive at the airport and they ask for proof of accommodation and you have nothing, you might not be allowed to enter the island. So you don't want to put yourself in that kind of situation. So that is that with accommodation. Let me know if you have any questions, even if it's not accommodation related, any questions about studying in Mauritius. Let me know and I'll be happy to answer those questions, to give you as much information as possible, information that I know, to help you make an informed decision. And please subscribe and like this video. Thank you.